A long-standing manslaughter case came to a close in Queens Bench Court in Swift Current on June 28th. 21-year-old John Donovan Park, seen in the white-colored T-shirt, and 24-year-old Raymond Lynn Davis were sentenced to prison in connection in the death of 44-year-old Roland Ruist. Park will spend 7 years in jail, less 2 months already served. Meanwhile, Davis will serve 7 years, less 26 months' time already served. Both are prohibited from using or owning a firearm or related material for 10 years and must submit to DNA samples as requested. The case stems back to April 6, 2010, when the body of Ruist was discovered in his Swift Current home. Park was arrested on April 16th, served 2 months in custody, then released on strict conditions. Meanwhile, Davis was arrested on April 19th and was taken immediately into custody with no chance of bail and spent 26 months in Regina remand to date. In the courtroom, the Crown set the scene of what transpired and led to the death of Roland Ruist. On the evening of April the 5th, Davis, along with an unnamed adult and a youth who cannot be named due to his age, went to Ruist's home and bought 1 gram of cocaine and split it 3 ways. The evening continued with heavy drinking and more drugs. Sometime later, now after midnight, Davis convinced Park and the unnamed youth to go back to Ruist's home with the intent to steal money or drugs from the victim. The youth stayed in the vehicle while Park and Davis entered the home through a back door. At this time, court heard that Park grabbed Ruist and held him by the neck, while Davis searched the home for drugs or money. On several occasions, Davis came back and hit Ruist on various parts of his body while demanding the money and drugs. Meanwhile, Park continued to hold grip firm around the victim's neck. After a period of time believed to be some 10 to 15 minutes, the duo fled the scene and never looked back. The court then heard that it was a day or 2 later that Park drove by Ruist's home and saw the police tape surrounding the perimeter and realized something horrible had happened. According to a pathologist's report, the cause of death was due to manual strangulation. And although Park and Davis each played different roles in the death of Roland Ruist, the sentencing was arrived at mutually by the Crown and the defense.
And that's always a difficult thing too, isn't it? I guess we weighed in, as you heard in court, the fact that Mr. Park had no record. Mr. Davis had a significant record, but no violence on his record, really. Mr. Davis, of course, was the planner of this particular incident, and of course our view is that but for Mr. Davis, Mr. Park and the other young person would not have been involved at all. And then you look at Mr. Park, of course, he was the one who physically caused the death of Mr. Ruist. So when you looked at all of those factors, our view was that the appropriate thing would be to treat them equally, that they were equal players in this.
Meanwhile, the unnamed young offender received a sentence of 15 months in February of 2011 due to his role as the driver of the vehicle that evening. Herman further added that this particular case took longer than usual to reach the sentencing stage, due to the fact that Davis switched lawyers on numerous occasions, further extending the process for all involved. For an event which the judge called a senseless act, fueled by the ferocious appetite for drugs.
And I think this is a prime example where you look at somebody 19 years of age without any prior record, who his lawyer would say has not been involved in the drug scene before, yet can get himself so intoxicated or so involved with alcohol that he could be persuaded to be involved in this, and then unfortunately, go so far as to end up killing Mr. Ruist, when one would never expected him to have been involved in this activity.
Prior to sentencing, Davis and Park each pled guilty to the crime and had their opportunity to speak to the court. An emotional Park indicated that he was sorry to both Ruist's family and his own family as well. Davis, who read from a prepared statement, cited that he too was sorry, that his decision on April the 6th made a devastating turn in everyone's lives involved. He does not expect to be forgiven, hopes to be a role model for his daughter, and will always carry Roland Ruist close to his heart. And with 26 months now passed since the death of Roland Ruist, the court says the final sentencing for Park and Davis won't bring back a loved one, but will hopefully bring some sense of closure for the family.